All right, so everyone's making Bitcoin way too complicated right now. I'm seeing many charts on the timeline. They kind of look like a game of pick up sticks with all this like over analysis, we could call it. But you know, there's one level I'm watching right now, one single level, and it's kind of defining where I'm seeing the market going. It's basically like a bull bear pivot. Above this level, I'm bullish. Below this level, and I can look for shorts, and I am bearish. But you know, if you want to simplify your trading and just sort of do less charting, spend less screen time, and just pay attention to the one level that matters, then stick with me because I'm going to cover that level throughout this video. And I'm also going to cover some privacy coins because privacy coins have been pumping over the last few days. Also seeing XMR hit new all-time highs. That's Monero. But also I've been catching some nice trades in the Miles High Club based on sort of laggard plays, which I don't usually do, but some of them were just too tasty to pass up. So we're going to go over those, what I think can move further from where they are now. And we're also going to look at sort of how I'm trading them with my new 2026 system, which is simplified for you guys. I've drifted away from doing such advanced analysis and I'm just keeping it simple this year. I want less time on the screens and I want to be more effective when I'm on the screens. And I'm going to teach that to you guys and probably do a more dedicated video on that in the future. But anyway, I'm waffling. Before I get into it, please like and subscribe to the channel and let's get in. All right, so the one level to rule them all. What is it? What is it indeed? We're going to come up with it together. So I'm seeing Elliott wave with forecasting patterns. I'm seeing 50 different EMAs on different time frames. I'm seeing VWAP. I'm seeing order flow ideas. I'm seeing diagonals. I'm seeing horizontals. We can keep this very simple. So the best way to do your support and resistance is to switch to line chart. Let's just up here at the top of Trading View, switch to line. Now what I like to do with that is basically go down and look for a level that has the most participation on it. Now I can actually turn on the trend indicators, get rid of them for a sec. I just want the VRVP. So the VRVP is showing me different high volume nodes. So we can just mark those out over here. Nice high volume node there, nice cluster here, and a nice big one down the bottom. Now, although this isn't the biggest cluster, it's the most prominent support resistance level to me. So we can either use a single line, and just bang it wherever. What I like to do is use a box. So when you have that single line, you can say this is your level. What happens with a single line is you start getting married to the idea that price has to hit it exactly. And that becomes a problem sometimes because you need to have a bit of leeway to move either side of these things. So what I actually like to do is just draw an area. I don't know why I did quote fingers there, but we just need an area, okay? So straight up, I just like to go for a box because it shows a general area where I want to see a reaction. Now, if I pull this across, you want to do recency bias, so right to left. Pull this across, let's mark this out as a box. This is the 90K support resistance level. There's nothing special about this level other than the amount of simple touch points for support and resistance above and below. Now, I know it looks like it may miss a few over here. If you actually put the candlestick chart on, you can see wicks come into it. You can refine this level too. Quite simply for me right now, this is the only level I really give a shit about. Simply because, yes, we have range highs, we have range lows, but the amount of participation at this level shows me that this is basically a bull bear pivot. Now, if we start to accept under this level, I'll be looking for, all these lows over here to get cleaned out. Maybe this isolated low, maybe this low over here. To really see the true lows, we need the candlestick chart back on. We can see all these stacked equal lows down here. We can see this poor low over here, no wick on the bottom, flat bottom. You can see this isolated low just there. There's basically equal lows. We draw these across. There's a lot of liquidity to the downside. So if we do get below this level, I have many downside targets to hit. But as long as we're above this level, I'm bullish. And this is as simple as I want to make my trading this year. Now let's go back to the daily time frame. All I want my trading to be this year is how do I be the most effective with the least information presenting to me on the chart. Now, quite simply, all my system is this year, it's going to be simple lines, like support resistance lines. I don't care about supply and demand. I use those as well. FVGs, I use all of it as execution triggers. But in terms of like a broad overview of what I want to see, I'm just looking for these simple support resistance lines to line up with the money noodle, with my trend indicator. Now I can put that on. It's the gray bands down here. These are just 100, 200 EMAs above. Now, when I get the confluence of the lines marrying up with trend and price is pro-trend and also retesting a line as support, that's good enough for me. I like to go down to the lower time frames, look for liquidity sweeps and stuff, standard price action stuff. But in terms of, what this is right now, this is all good to me. Now, generally, the third thing I like to see is a stochastic RSI reset down below the 20 level if I'm bullish or above the 80 level if I'm bearish. This is kind of diddling in the middle right now, so ideally what I would like to see is price to sort of chop a bit longer around this region while this comes down and hits the reset zone. And we get the confluence of that. That's always generally sort of my favorite setup. We have this in the reset zone. This is tagging the trend at the same time as tagging a support level. And if we get some sort of like nice sweep of liquidity in there, an SFP and recovery, that's the cream on top. So like I said, you don't need to watch 20 levels with this chart. I'm seeing all this micro analysis, people on the 1 minute time frames drawing like literally 20 levels, saying it needs to get to here, to here, to here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Quite simply for me, bull bear pivot. That's what you can call it. You don't even need to call it support resistance. It's just a bull bear line. Now I have waffled on about this for a good amount of time, but that's, this is all you need to look at. So 90K, this is what we're worried about. Well, not worried for that matter at this point, but this is what we're watching. We want to see 90K hold. We want to see daily trend hold. We just want to see a push up from here. Where do we want to see it push up to? Well, we have some places to target on the way. First up, we have the 100 EMA at on the daily at 95, let's just say 96K. We have the 200 EMA at 100K, which is also the yearly the previous year's VWAP and the yearly rolling VWAP. And then, we can just draw another simple box up here, around 101 to 102K. This is just where the next supply cluster lines up. So you can see, even if you took a long here, you could have a very simple long. Your entries here. Right now, your invalidation is a close under the level, which is also a close under the money noodle. And I would just probably put it under this wick here because this wick swept this low over here. And then your target is 1, 2, 3. You can scale out, or you can just see how the reaction is, and you can take profit on the way up. But yeah, like I said, a lot of bearish takes, a lot of people saying it's going to zero, it's going down, it's going to take out lows, it has to take out the 80K lows. I myself have been saying like 65K would be my cycle bottom low, but that's based on if we can get up to 100K, we reject, because on the higher time frame, we have lost trend. The weekly trends up at those levels I discussed as well. We have lost trend after 1,000 days of trending in an uptrend. So 3 years we lost that level. So what I'm looking for is to come up here, reject, form basically a lower high, and then we're looking for maybe to come down to that 65, 68K level I've been discussing for a long time. Because I got some questions on that last video. People like, you said 65K, why are you saying upside now? It's different different time frames. So I'm looking for upside in the meantime. I think that reclaim of daily trend is bullish. I think this failure to push below the 90K level is bullish. I think the amount of upside liquidity to target is bullish. But also on the higher time frame, that's on the daily. On the weekly, I'm a bear if we push up, because I think we're going to come up here and find a lot of resistance. So something like this, some consolidation there, maybe a sweep, and then we look for that mark down. Take out these lows, take out 74K lows. Sort of my first port of call. Then we sort of see if we come into this old cluster of demand over here around that 65K level. So that is what I'm watching for now. Don't get it sort of twisted. You can have long and short setups in uptrends. You can have long and short setups in downtrends. You just need to sort of pick your time frame and be nimble on what those are. All right, so enough on Bitcoin. That is the one level, the one ring. Well, that's all we have to watch here. All right, so on to USDT dominance. Been waffling on about this a lot because I do like to waffle, as we all know. Look at the trend table up top. This is a downtrend on every single time frame. What did I say in the last two videos? We're looking for a bounce up into this level. The daily trend, after losing it, we held it since October. We had 86 days of an uptrend. We finally lost it. I was looking for that bounce off this level up to it. We're rejecting off it now. We can see that rejection. What's that going to equate to? That's going to equate to risk assets going up. If USDT dominance is going down, risk assets are going up. Now, how do we play this? Well, you can play it two ways. You can look to position into coins immediately if you want. This is the more sort of aggressive approach. You can look to go into coins immediately. Now we're rejecting off that trend, and you look to cut those if we start to reclaim that trend and we start trending up it. Option two, the more conservative approach, is you can wait till we come down here below this line, below this support resistance level here. You can wait to get below that. If you're using USDT dominance chart, it's like 5.9%. Now, if we start to accept under here, under this level, and trend is still going down, this is where you can actually start to load in heavier, because then we've lost the key support resistance level as well as trend. Now, maybe we get that push down and it comes back up and it retests the trend, because the trend will get there by then. Test the trend in line with that support resistance level. Like I said, that's the bread and butter setup. Maybe we get the stochastic RSI also resetting the momentum up at the same time. We get that hunky-dory. We are looking for longs on risk assets. So this is why I'm also bullish. A lot of people are just watching Bitcoin, but I also think the correlation to USDT dominance is very important here. We need to watch that. So that's it for that. Now let's jump on to some privacy coins. This privacy coins have been looking good. I'm semi-happy and semi-pissed about them because I've been posting some good setups in Mars High Club. One we took, which I will show you in a sec, and one I set some limit orders and it just took off. So them's the breaks. So first up, the one we took. One we took was this guy right here, and I'll show you why it was a good setup. So there you go. I put the P&L card there. I put the receipts there so everyone knows I'm not just bullshitting you guys. So straight up, let's just get rid of that. Don't like looking at it. So straight up, what was the setup here? Basically, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's bring that back up. Basically, what was happening here on the daily time frame is we saw Monero making all-time high. We can go to Monero chart quickly. XMR looking very good, right? Looking very good indeed. So this made new all-time high. Now, obviously, when it made new all-time high, people started paying more attention to privacy coins. So here's all-time high over here. We blitzed through that and then some. And you know, since then we've seen a spillover into the betas. Now I don't usually go the betas. I usually just long the alpha because usually what happens is you long the beta because the alpha's already up 30%. And then you just wait for it to pump and then it doesn't pump and then you get annoyed and then coin A, the alpha pulls back and you pile into that instead and then your coin that you're in pumps. And so there's a bunch of like over managing that happens with that stuff. I generally just like to go into the alpha and wait for a pullback. If there's a reason something's pumping and a reason something isn't pumping, you want to play into the reason that the thing is pumping. Anyway, that's almost a moot point because I broke the rule and I went for the beta. That's because I started looking down the risk chain. So, you know, XMR was looking good, but it was already up too high for my system. Like my system relies on buying support resistance levels and compression breaks with the trend. Obviously, it was already way up by the time it broke through all-time highs, had no pullbacks. So I started looking further down the curve. Now, what did I come up to was Verge, XVG. Now, why I like this coin is because when I looked at it last night, it was showing pro trend on the trend table up top here. So daily H12, H4, H1, M30, M15, all on an uptrend. This is a good sign. Now, why it was doing that, it was actually doing this compression pattern here. So if we get rid of this green line for a sec, it was doing compression between the 100 and the 200 EMA on the daily. That's these gold dotted lines here. And the compression from the daily trend below. So you can see the compression happening here, you know, higher lows, lower highs, and basically it's going to break to one side. Now, the fact that privacy coins were moving based on XMR, there was a meta there. So there's a narrative. So I said, this is probably going to break to the upside. Also, I just like the fact that it was compressing against that diagonal line. And when I went down to the 4 hour, so already the daily's giving me a good signal. When I go down to the 4 hour, it's giving me the same signal again. We're basically seeing something a bit different. So seeing it was trending along the money noodle and it was also trending along the H4, 100 and 200 EMA. So this was pro trend on the H4. It was above all three of the indicators. At the same time, it's forming this diagonal. So quite simply, when I posted in the Mars High Club last night, as soon as we got this break here, this first candle close, you see this guy here? I took my entry on that and I just put my stop under the breakout candle. And now we have hit the target. Now, how do we find the target? Target's pretty simple, right? You can just use the VRVP. So the visible range volume profile. It's just a free indicator in TradingView. It's native to it. Whenever it decides to load, I guess it's just playing funny buggers with me now. There we go. You know, double click on that, it's called the VRVP. If you want to screenshot this right now, those are my settings. I pretty much just get rid of everything apart from the actual volume itself. Now, where did I choose my target? Well, here's a point of breakdown up here, a supply level on the daily. Also lines up with a high volume node here. So this is a target one. I've filled this gap, went up. And you know, from here, if we start to get above this consolidate, I'll just be targeting these highs over here. So this is a pretty simple one. Now, that was a good trade. I'm happy about that. I've only taken partial profit here. I'm still waiting to see if we come up here or if we start to form sort of bearish divergences here on RSI. You know, nothing yet. We've still got a bit of a ways to go up in the RSI, which is a good sign. Maybe if we start coming up here, forming bear div like that, as price is doing this, then I will look to take profit on that completely. So happy with that. At the same time, Dash is one that I flagged this morning in the live stream on the Mars High Club. So Dash was looking good, basically because I was looking at the weekly. I zoomed right out to the weekly. Remember to always go out to high time frames. You want to do your top-down analysis. So out on the weekly, we're at the weekly trend and also holding the weekly 100 EMA quite nicely. It was looking very good. I was like, okay, that looks good. I also went into the BTC pair. Now the BTC pair is right here. So when I went to the BTC pair, I saw also we're holding the weekly trend and also this weekly support resistance level. So this said to me Dash was probably going to move up in line with the narrative. Like price action aside, you always need a narrative in crypto. That's basically what my trading is. I call myself a momentum trader, mostly on altcoins. It's because I look for the narrative that's moving and I try to find the coins within that and sort of go further down the risk curve to see which ones have opportunity, which ones haven't broken out yet, or which ones that are strongest that we can hop on the trend with. So Dash is one of them. And I posted this morning. I was going over it in the live stream. I said I'm looking for an entry on this. And it was basically on the H1 chart. So it was looking very bullish this morning. We saw these high volume candles on this breakout here. And what do? We got above, we're holding above the hourly money noodle, and we got above the 100 and 200 EMA at the same time. I was like, sweet. This was sitting about here at that point. This was this candle here, or was this one forming here? So I set some limit orders here with the group. I was able to look for a pullback into this demand level. We're going to target this level up here. What did it do? It just took off because privacy coins are the meta at the moment and everyone wants a part of them. So now we have to sort of revise things a bit. And for that, we're zooming out to high time frame levels and we're just looking for certain criteria. So obviously with Dash right now, I'm just going to use this one example. The video is going to be too long. We're coming into the 100 EMA. Is that 100 or 200? I really got to change the color on this. It's a 100 EMA. Got to change the color on these bad boys. By the way, all these indicators which I've created, the table as well, which is going to be released soon. The speed noodle, this is the money noodle, but I've created a new version which is faster reacting. It has better logic for sort of quicker moves. That's all available in the Miles High Club. Link in the description if you want to check that out. And I talked before about narrative, finding coins to trade for the day. Also, this indicating get in the Miles High Club. This basically shows you what is outperforming on the day. We can see right now it is apparently GameFi, which I'm not going to touch because GameFi always lets you down. But from that, you can sort of use these indexes over here, see what's pumping the most, and then you can get the coins within that index and see which of those coins is outperforming. And that's basically giving you your bucket to trade for the day without having to scroll through charts endlessly. So this is my first port of call every day that I come into the charts. And it tells me whether I want to trade or whether I don't want to trade. With that aside, back to the task at hand. So something like Dash, now that move has happened, we want to see consolidation above this level. We get that, then we start to look up for where we can mark up to, maybe these high volume nodes for the gap fills. I quite like this first one here. This is roughly, there we go. We can see why that's a high volume node. If we draw this across to here, simple support resistance level, right? Whoops. Simple support resistance level. You can see that is a structural low over here. So I'm looking for a new trade. If we get above this level, level to level trade up to 27% move. And basically that is my system. So I don't fret so much, even though I said I was pissed. I'm a bit pissed. But if I miss this move down here, I have a plan B and plan C. Plan C could have been to short this, but privacy coin's too strong. So plan B for me is we get consolidation up here. Now I'm now looking for a new level to level trade between these 2 points here. This is why you always don't want to get married to something. I imagine other people wanted this demand level on Dash down here and they're waiting for it. They're just going to say, oh, I'm not going to buy higher. I could have had that, but I didn't get it. Not me, and not us, not if you follow me on the channel. Because the whole point is if this, then that. IFTT. If this, then that. Yeah, cool. If this, that's actually IFTTT. Yeah, good. We're doing things together. We're learning together. Old Paradise is slow today. But anyway, so that's the next level to level trade I'm looking for. Only if the privacy meta sustains. We need to see that narrative continue. If it starts to die off and we see a new meta emerge, then we're not looking for those trades anymore. But if it does, I think Dash can offer some nice setups if it gets above this level. Same for XVG. I'm going to hold a bit of the position. Currently taking 50% off, just a bit higher. Now, if we get above this level here, do that consolidation, like I said, just like Dash, then I'll be looking for a new level to level trade. I think right here, it looks pretty simple. We have pretty much a range high type thing up here. We can just draw it like that. Then I'll be looking for a new level to level trade between these 2 points. So level to level, always if this, then that. Always have a few plans and don't get married to anything. That's what I want to teach you guys on this channel. I teach this every day in the Miles High Club. I have over 50 videos recorded on all of my system and all psychology stuff. I'm basically, been training since 2017. I've burned myself many times. I made a hell of a lot of money. I lost all of it. And I built it back up, and now I'm trading full time for a living and teaching people to do the same. But, if you want experience with someone who's been in the trenches and come back, that is me. We've been to some pretty dark lows. It builds character, right, as they say. So anyway, I'm going to keep this video short because I'm doing the old Paradise Waffle as always. These are the privacy coins I'm watching. You guys can screenshot this here under the today thing. We're not going to go over them all right now. I think DUSK looks promising. I think Zen looks promising. And ZEK is the one dragging the chain, so we can check that out quickly. The thing with ZEK is everyone's ignoring it, making a meme out of it. Yeah, they're going to laugh at it until they don't. It's going to just rip faces again. But you know, if we look at the trend table up the top, we can see, is this an asset we want to trade right now? No, it's in a heavy downtrend. I'm talking to the long side. Now, if it does pop up, I think it could actually make a great short because we have the 102 EMA on the 4 hour up around this support resistance bull bear pivot level. That could be a potentially nice short. I think also the daily trend is up there somewhere. Yeah, so the daily trend's also up around that area. So if we get a pop up to that, might be looking for a short. But if we start to reclaim these levels here, I think ZEK will just melt some faces again. We'll keep an eye on that. But for now, like, go to CoinGecko. That's what I did. I went through with privacy coins. I've listed the ones I think have promise. You can, once again, mark those down, pause the video, have a look at them here, and just pay attention to those. Obviously, this Pirate Chain thing's doing pretty well, but you know, we need some pullbacks on that. Dash doing well, froze me out, left us behind. XVG, I think, can go higher. You know, XVG, Verge, this was Dogecoin Dark back in 2017 when I used to trade it. This is an OG thing, so I've got fond memories for it. Even Decred, I haven't traded this since 2017. Yes, it looks like, you know, not great here, but I think on the 4 hour, it's actually shaping up kind of nicely. I think also on the 1 hour, it's, you know, printing some good signals. It's above all the EMAs and the trend. This actually looks pretty decent. So also in an uptrend, higher lows it's forming. So we just want to see that continue, but I think any pullback on this potentially is pretty low liquidity, I think, but potentially could be something there. And for a bit of paradise nostalgia, I might be trading this one again, you know, a good 8 years later. So we'll see. Anyway, let's leave it there. Miles High Club, link in the description if you want to join, get the education, get the indicators. I think it's a good time to maybe start to look into these things because the market does start to push up from the 90K level here. I think there's going to be sort of lots of guidance in the group, lots of market outlooks, lots of live analysis for everyone. Also, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm so damn close to 4K, so you know, ring your parents, ring your grandma, ring your dogs, friends. Just get them all to punch that subscribe button. So I get to 4K, and then I can bitch about not being at 5K, which would be fun. Anyway, I will see you guys in a couple of days. Be well, and we'll chat then. Cheers.